Welcome, Super 7th graders. This is the Module 2 lesson for 2.06. As we continue our essay writing, we're going to work on the introduction this week. So due Friday at 4 o'clock, 2.06 introduction paragraph. Read through the informational research chart that you previously prepared. Write a well-developed introductory paragraph of 4 or more sentences. Write your thesis statement. This is your three-part idea that answers the question: what problems does my everyday monster cause? Who does it affect? And how can it be solved? And then 2.07, connect your ideas, is an assignment. On the page chart, there's a transition reference sheet, which will help you. You should have that saved or printed out as you're writing. It will help you with your transition statements. Okay? So 2 things due this week: your introduction and the transition reference sheet assignment. Okay. So we are going to continue with our cause and effect essay. Last week we worked on the research chart, the planning, and you picked the jellyfish or the lizard in order to write on that. Okay, so let's look a little more into detail on 2.06. So your objective for 2.06. After completing this lesson, you will be able to define thesis statement and hook as they apply to informational writing, write an effective thesis statement for a problem and solution informational text, identify a variety of solutions for writing a hook for introductory paragraphs, and write an effective hook for a problem and solution informational text. So these are things that you will need in your introductory paragraph. You're going to need your hook and your thesis statement, and then some background information. This may be a review for some of you. This year we do go a little more in depth, and I want you to make your theses more mature and challenge you on your hooks. So let's take a look at your thesis statement first. And if you want to go ahead and pull up your graphic organizer, your research chart from last week, 2.04, you can take a look at that and use that as a reference as we go through this lesson. So for the introduction paragraph, right, you want to do your thesis statement. And what your thesis statement is a good way to begin your paragraph, okay? It is a complete sentence that identifies the central idea of the text. The thesis is the author's idea about the topic that can be supported with valid evidence. It is usually placed at the end of the introduction, okay? So why are we doing it first? Why we look at making the thesis statement and getting that part done of your introduction is because everything in your entire essay relates back to your thesis statement. So if you write your thesis statement first and then work backwards from that to do the rest of your introduction, you'll make sure that you have a strong introduction. It's keeping the end in mind. The end of our introduction paragraph is our thesis statement. Okay, so the thesis statement goes to the end. We're writing it first because it's our main idea. So I know that's a little confusing. It's at the end of the introduction that thesis statement is. But when we start to do our introduction essay, we're going to get that thesis statement done first. So what we're looking for in a thesis statement is that it states the author's specific idea about the topic in one sentence. So your thesis is one sentence long. It can be supported with valid evidence such as facts, expert testimony, and research. So this is what you'll put in your body paragraphs: the facts, expert testimony, and research that will support your thesis. Does not include feelings or emotions. Your thesis statement should not say, "Oh my goodness, I love jellyfish so much," or "the Komodo dragon is awesome," because that's an opinion that includes feelings and emotions. And it's written in third person point of view. No use of the pronoun I. I'm very, very picky on this. Everything in this essay should be third person point of view. No I, me, or my, or we. Okay, so special note, if the thesis cannot be supported with valid evidence, then it is not a thesis. So you want to make sure that your thesis is the main idea of your entire essay. It states your ideas in one sentence that can be supported with valid evidence, but it needs to be written in third person point of view. And we are going to look at examples and non-examples of thesis statements to help you out. And this is all directly from your lesson, so you can always go back and refer to that. Okay. So you're doing your problem solution article, and remember you picked last week what your topic would be, and you did your chart, your research chart. So you have all your research done. Okay. First, you must review all the valid evidence you researched and the information in your organizational chart. Have you done that? Good. And that's why hopefully you have that pulled up. You're looking at it. Take a minute to look at that. And then you're going to ask yourself this 3-part question. So there's 3 things that you want to make sure that you're looking at. What problems does my everyday monster cause? So what problems? Who does it affect? And how can it be solved? Your answer is your idea about the topic. Write this down. Make sure that you have addressed all 3 parts. And if you want to pause the recording and do this now, that's awesome. If you want to come back and do it after you watch the recording, that's fine too. But remember, your thesis should tell you the problem your everyday monster caused, who it affects, and how it can be solved. Your answer is your idea about the topic. Write this down. Make sure that you address all 3 parts. Now you will format this idea into your thesis statement. Remember, your effective thesis statement states your specific idea about the topic in one sentence, can be supported with valid evidence, does not include feelings or emotions, and is written in third person point of view. Take the time to write several drafts of your thesis. That doesn't mean that you're one and done, you guys. It means that you get your ideas out, write it down on the first time, and then go back and look at it a couple of times to make sure it's the best thesis you can come up with. Try different versions until you find the right one that expresses your idea clearly and meets everything that a thesis should be. All this stuff right here. Excellent. And remember, you can pause the recording, write your thesis statement, or come back to it to help you. So let's look at example thesis statements. Here are 2 strong thesis statements for problem and solution articles. Okay. The growing number of bed bug infestations present many problems for the human population, but there are proven solutions. Okay, so let's look at the 3 things. What problems does it cause? Who does it affect? And how can it be solved? Okay, the problem is growing bed bug infestations. It presents a problem to the human population, but there are solutions. Okay, so here's your topic. Okay, bed bug. It's a problem for the human population, and there are proven solutions. So problem, solution. And you can use this as an example and a way to write your thesis. Another example would be the decline of killer whales poses a threat to all sea life, but can be addressed with stricter laws, education, and preservation. Okay? So the problem is the decline of killer whales. It poses a threat to who does it affect? Sea life. And what are the solutions? It can be addressed with stricter laws, education, and preservation. Okay? These are all really good theses because it's third person, doesn't reflect your personal opinion, and can be backed up with valid research, and that's what the rest of the essay will be. Okay? So again, problem, who is the problem for, and what are the solutions? I think number 2 is probably the stronger thesis in my opinion, because it gives you the actual solutions. But they're both good, and those would both be acceptable if I saw those on your essays. And remember, it's right from the lesson, so you can go back to the lesson if you want to look at it in depth. So we've kind of talked about theses, and now we know the thesis is the last sentence of our introduction paragraph. But we need something to start with, so we start with hooks. There are 2 ways of presenting the hook for a thesis statement. You can do an anecdote. An example of an anecdote would be, for generations, parents have tucked their children into bed saying an old rhyme, "Good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite." They shut off the lights, listening for the giggles of their children, imagining cute little bugs tickling them as they try to sleep. But recent news stories have shed new light on these insects of the night. Bedbugs are very real and have been attacking people in greater numbers all around the world. The growing number of bedbug infestations present many problems for the human population, but there are proven solutions. So you can see this was the hook that was used in the thesis that was used in the last example. And to start it off, for the hook, they used an anecdote. And an anecdote is like a little story that you tell, right? And what that does is it pulls your reader in. Their example was the "Good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite." Right? And they connected that to the problem of bed bug infestations. And the other thing is a quotation. They hide by day and creep out at night to feed on human blood. It will be a battle, but we can stop them. Although this sounds like a speech from a vampire movie, they are the words of bug expert Ted Graff. Mr. Graff was a guest speaker at the 2012 Bed Bug Summit. His comments were presented to a crowd of concerned people searching for a way to stop a serious issue. All over the world, bedbugs have been invading buildings in increasing numbers. The growing number of bedbug infestations present many problems for the human population, but there are proven solutions. Again, you have a quotation to draw the reader's attention, or an anecdote, and those are your hooks. So these are the 2 hooks that I want you to use for this, either an anecdote or a quotation. Right? Please don't ask any questions or give any surprising facts. For 2.06, we are going to practice the hooks in these 2 ways. So either an anecdote or a quotation. So a hook can be an anecdote or a quotation. And you want to take a look at, when you're writing the problem and solution informational introduction, your hook grabs attention, provides information. And those type of hooks that we're using, anecdote or a quotation. And then your thesis states your idea about the problem, mentions who or what it affects, and previews the solutions you will discuss. And of course, in between here, you need to put some background information. And you can see in the example that we looked at before for the background information, they took the quotation and explained who it was from, Mr. Ted Graff, and that it was a serious issue. So they used that, the background information, to bridge between your hook and your thesis. So you need to make sure that you have your background information that connects your hook and your thesis. Okay. Oops, one more back. So we have our hook, our background information, and then we have our thesis. And to review, for your thesis, you need to make sure that you state your idea about the problem, mention who it affects, and previews the solutions you will discuss. So make sure you have all of that information. So when you look at your assignment for 2.06, kind of reiterates everything that we've gone over, okay? You want to start a new document. In this document, you'll turn in for all the parts of the essay. So for 2.06, you're writing the introduction. And then when you go to write the body paragraphs for 2.08, you'll keep it all in the same Google document, okay? You want to, number one, in order to do the assignment, read through the informational research chart that you have previously prepared for 2.04. Write a well-developed introductory paragraph of 4 or more sentences. Okay? You want to use a hook, use a thesis statement, and have your background information. And you want to make sure that you use correct grammar, punctuation, and spelling, and that is what you'll submit for 2.06, your introduction. So it should be a 1-paragraph introduction. So due Friday, your introduction, 2.07, connect your ideas, a transitions quiz, and 2.08, your big ideas, and that's your body paragraphs of your compare and contrast article. Right? Live net lesson will be next Monday at noon. Same time as always. Okay? And if you need help, please call or text, and I will be more than happy to help you. Have a great day, guys. Thank you for listening.